Oh, I love it.
Yeah, this one. Here we go. That's the picture I said. I officially retracted my position as libertarian. I meant it. Like, oh my God.
I will not retract the fact that I believe in small L libertarianism. And it's not that I have like a huge stick up my ass. He might enjoy that about Oliver Chase, but this ain't the way, dude. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I think
these are the same people that say Ron Paul wasn't a libertarian because he wasn't when he ran for presidency, he joined the Republicans. Total partisan politics, total bullshit.
These are the same people that keep saying that Trump mandated the jab. You know,
yeah, which he didn't.
He didn't, right? But the libertarians are always like, "Well, Trump mandated the jab." No, he didn't.
And let me address my fellow libertarians out there. I do like libertarianism. I believe in it, and I do believe that Trump is still fundamentally an authoritarian figure. But by God, you've got to grow a little bit of fucking strategy. You have to understand. You don't get anything if you just lose all the time.
That's
if you can make some incremental gain, unless you're going full Richard Spencer mode.
Yeah.
And accelerationism or something like that. Unless you're going full accelerationist, you've got to be able to take what you can get. That requires negotiation, strategy, and tact. And the fact is that the Libertarian Party in its current inception does not understand that. And I've spoken with some of the leadership of the Libertarian Party even recently. Some of these are very intelligent people, and I have respect for them. What you really should be doing is trying to crush your own party in order to rise it from the ashes or something like that, because you're not going to win under this current incarnation. Not even close.
Imagine blowing up 20 years of scrimping and scratching to 3-4%. Like
Gary Johnson is. Yeah. Keep in mind, he's the one that got the most votes. He didn't even know where Aleppo was.
Oh my God. And the thing is,
we could literally spend the entire hour and a half just riffing on the Libertarian Party, and it would be amusing.
Well, the problem to me, I viewed it as like these people showed to me that they have no long-term plan. Like you have Donald Trump there. I'm not saying that some people are like, oh, they boot him. I don't care that they boot him. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. However,
and he does have authoritarian views that deserve to be booed.
Yes, correct.
Honestly. I say this, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. He is not perfect, not by any realm of imagination. But he took him for fools.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So Trump 40 chessed him. He gobbled up. He basically solidified any conservative leaning libertarian. They're going to vote for Trump now. The Lulbertarians will have the fewest votes probably in 2024 that they've had in a long time. And
it would be harder for them to do worse than Jorgensen. They might come in.
That's fair.
They won't get to Johnson. They'll be somewhere between Gary Johnson and Joe Jorgensen.
Was it Joe Jorgensen in 2016 and 2020?
No, Johnson was 2016. 2020 was Jorgensen.
Okay.
I think it'll be somewhere between those.
So, okay, maybe that's fair. But what do you think about, like, my thing was, and I'm not picking on Dave Smith. But Dave Smith got up there and said, hey, we can't just boo Trump. We got to wait for him to say something worth booing. I think that was a huge tactical fuck up because I think he should have said, if you don't like when he said silence is better. Like crickets is better. When you boo him, you look unhinged. You look like
the entire thing looked unhinged.
Yeah.
It's like you don't understand the right of freedom of speech in your own venue does not extend to the right to prevent another person from speaking. That's a core tenet of at least sane libertarians. And then the insane ones will say, "Well, you're a cuck."
Right?
You don't think that I should be able to prevent this other person from expressing themselves? How's that libertarian? What are you talking about, dude?
How is Chase Oliver libertarian? This is a guy that cheered on censorship. He's pro-censorship. Bye, Donald Trump. Glad you're banned. Sorry, not sorry. 25th Amendment now. I mean, he is a TDS. He's pro-transing the kids. He's pro-open borders. He's pro-lockdown.
Maybe I should run for libertarian presidential candidate. I think I'd do better than him.
I can't imagine he's getting crushed now that this tweet's.
I'll choose you for my running mate.
I think we could do better.
We will take the world.
Yeah, I think we could. I honestly think we could do better in a 4-year
How many people
run-up.
out there? How many people out there want sticks and quartering 2028?
Yeah, that would be.
And no, we will not be supporting NAMBLA to Carl and
Sorry.
Vegas.
Yeah, sorry. No NAMBLA.
It's
a time for a new era in the Libertarianism Party.
If this dude can become their presidential nominee, I don't think there'd be much standing in our way.
I think we could do it.
Other than insanity, maybe.
Yeah, I think. Well, my thing was like, man, you knew you weren't beating Trump. Act like adults and take a long view, right? And say, hey, we got enough votes. We got 3-4%. You might not think it matters, but it does. You lost X, Y, and Z states by a small percentage where Joe Jorgensen got votes or where Johnson got votes. Give us a cabinet position or something.
And he gave that to them.
Right.
He gave them, dude, for a party that has that little support overall. I like the Libertarians. I support the Free State movement.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Porkfest, but you've got to be realistic. You've got a person running for office saying he's going to pardon Albrecht.
Ross. Yeah, right.
He's going to pardon Albrecht and, for the first time in U.S. history, have a libertarian, a dedicated one in his cabinet.
And they spat in his face.
You have to understand. You have to negotiate within politics. You cannot be a purist. The left doesn't understand this. Even the MAGA conservatives sometimes don't understand this. Certainly, the Uniparty doesn't, and the Libertarians suffer from the same basic flaw. You were just given your dinner, and you decided that the dinner wasn't posh enough. It was on a silver platter instead of a golden platter, and so you just threw it to the side.
I couldn't believe it.
And I was like, what the fuck? What the hell is going on?
You could have had that 3% could have been 5% in 4 years.
Absolutely.
If you would have played ball with Trump, you would have got a cabinet position. I'm not saying you have to vote for him. I'm just saying don't humiliate yourself.
That's the key. You get you get the cabinet position and you make sure that it's someone that's really, really qualified, really, really forthright. They can make that pitch to the country from an established cabinet.
Yep.
And then people are more likely to vote for you. They're like, oh, I always thought these libertarians were crazy. This dude doesn't sound crazy. He sounds pretty cool, actually.
Well, it's like when you
talk. Well, there you go. You just doubled your vote. What are you doing?
It's like you get a lot of people who never heard of Ron Paul, but thought he was kind of some kook. But now he gets a big platform. I mean, Ron Paul has a big platform, but I mean, for 4 years,
and he got mistreated by the Republicans. Let's face it.
He did, yeah. But I mean, I think the Libertarian Party did irreparable damage to themselves at least for the very for this cycle. They're toast. Yeah.
They'll
for the next cycle,
I'll give the over and under at 2% nationally, and that's probably being generous.
This tweet says how Libertarians have been bashing Trump for years about the false story about him mandating the jab, only to nominate a pro-vax, pro-mask candidate. Like, it's just like,
it's inexplicable.
Everyone.
Hey, Earth to fellow libertarians, of which I am one. Donald Trump never passed a mandate. He came out against them. He never locked anything down other than Chinese nationals coming in, and they're communists. So you should probably be thankful for that. So
that was the wildest weekend I've ever.
Do you ever get the feeling that the last half decade of our lives has been genuinely off the chain? Like, when people get older, they're always like, oh, well, these are crazy days. Everything's going to hell. But like, in a visceral sense, you just know this is more crazy than normal. Like, I don't think that people that were growing up in the roaring 20s watching people, doing the jitterbug, I don't think they had the same visceral reaction.
I imagine a toddler or like a rich kid who gets powerful, like a really powerful job. And he's like, aha. And he's like predicting what's going to happen to us plebes. He's like, I'm bored. Let's just destroy the Libertarian Party. They pulls a grenade. They blow themselves up in the most libertarian TM way imaginable.
Recreational McNukes.
Dude, I would have been a hardcore Libertarian Party get. And I'd be a good get, just like you would be. Like, we have big audiences. We have open free thinkers. I would have been legitimately open to hearing what the Libertarian Party had to offer after Trump. especially after they had 8 years of a cabinet position, a bigger platform. But no, it turns out that a majority of them just have TDS, and they're not really they're not for libertarianism at all.
Yeah, there must be some infiltration going on, but they've definitely changed over the last decade or so.
It must not take. It doesn't take much. It's just like waking up and seeing that video games or movies are all taken over by the woke establishment. It's like, oh, the Libertarian Party has been too. Yeah, okay. While we weren't paying attention, they pumped 200 operatives in there, and now the Libertarian Party is some literal joke.
Yeah, I mean, Trump got booed by a party for telling them exactly what they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to pardon the Silk Road founder. I'm going to take a step.
He gave them what they wanted. Yeah.
Literally, none of you could have possibly. Did any libertarian candidate promise that?
I don't think so.
There we go.
There were a bunch of them, so I don't know. But
hey, I'm going to pardon the Silk Road founder, who is literally in for several life sentences for absolutely nothing. Boo!
Yeah,
you're an authoritarian. That's not enough to pardon Ross Ulbricht. Well, I mean, yeah, I wish he would pardon Assange too, but baby steps.
They could have taken credit for Ross's pardoning too.
Yeah, they could have. They could have congratulated. They don't have to nominate him because he's ineligible, but they could say, "Oh, that sounds good. Okay, we'll work with you.
You have our support," and then they could spin it.
They don't even need to offer the support. They could just say, "We are like the idea," and come out and say that. And okay, if he gets elected, at the very least, something positive has been accomplished, which is more than Biden will ever do.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
God, it's just a shit show.
Robert Barnes versus Dave Smith has been great today. Of all the criticisms of Chase, there are plenty of legitimate ones. You've chosen the most retarded. Because Robert Barnes says, he's calling out the authoritarianism. So he's like, do you support employer jab mandates? Your candidate does. Do you support business mask mandates? Your candidate does. Do you support open borders for cheap labor? Your candidate does.
As somebody who likes both Barnes and
I like them both too.
Smith on this. Yeah, I'm not going to take a hard side, but
yeah. Well, Dave, I think Dave's in a bad position here. He didn't vote for. Presumably he didn't vote for the guy. So he's just trying to do the good thing and congratulate the guy who won. I wouldn't be too.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's just supporting it for partisan purposes.
Yes, correct.
Ideology matters more than. I mean, parties shouldn't exist at all. Actually, some of our founders
true libertarians.
Some of our founders warned against this very eventuality.
Yeah. So to summarize it, rip libertarians.
They'll be back. It's just that this cycle is not going to go well.